You're listening to the Rogers Sporting Goods Podcast. This is Aaron Jones.
This is Chandler Smith, and I hate long intros, so let's get into it.
Up to the top, just get hooked in. I'm like, oh my gosh. And now it's scramble time. You got to come back down the lifeline, undo. You got to take your coat off, take your harness off, undo your bibs.
Well, and you know the worst part is, if there's no rush, you can do zippers and buckles and everything like there's no tomorrow. When you are in a hurry, it's like a Rubik's Cube.
You can't get your carabiner unlocked.
Yes, zippers or Rubik's Cubes, buckles
and it's time. So I just kind of run behind the tree, and as I'm leaning over against the tree behind me.
But that doesn't spook deer, the smell?
Like
he wasn't worried about that.
At that point, it didn't matter. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know.
I need to keep like a little plastic bag inside my layout boat of some toilet paper.
The teepee.
Yeah.
I have some in every backpack and blind bag and in the truck.
Oh, I keep it in the truck.
Yeah, it's just, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the excitement of hunting, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like, that's what, I don't know if we talked about it, but like, what's your go-to in the morning, and you're eating on the way. And for me,
coffee.
It's like nothing now. I just keep it super simple.
Coffee jumps.
Like once I'm in the stand and comfortable and relaxed, and then I'll break a snack out. But to the stand, I don't want to put anything in that tank.
I'm just so thankful that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes there's facilities at boat ramps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you say that. So during the pandemic, for some odd reason, at a lot of public places,
restrooms were closed.
They closed the restrooms, but put out porta potties.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, what's the difference? In fact, if one was going to be more unsanitary and unhealthy, it would be the single pot porta potty that you got to go in versus
that
the
holds
giant,
everything.
Yeah, besides the giant open bathroom that's ventilated and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was odd.
There was a lot of oddness of
and that
logic,
matter.
reasoning, and
I mean,
sense
if
that
they're
went out the
closed
window.
and it's usually dark out, I'll just go behind it and hope someone doesn't walk through my mess.
Yes. So in case you can't tell, we're talking about decoys today. Yes.
We do have we got a pile of decoys here.
We do.
There's so many different kinds, though. This is
Well, and it has to do with some videos we shot today.
mm-hmm.
We did some decoy comparison videos.
Yeah, this podcast is going to go out after the videos are released on YouTube. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the YouTube videos, you might like pause and check those out really quickly.
And subscribe and turn on notifications.
Yep.
yeah.
So
you can
YouTuber
actually
here
see
knows
them.
what to do.
Yes.
Leave a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Comment your favorite duck
And
decoy.
the comparisons were mallards. We did a flocked head comparison,
Yeah.
and then a
And-
painted head comparison.
and we did a flocked head and painted head, and we focused on the drakes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've and most of them like the premium line. We'll probably do another review of like the economy or hot buy or entry level mallard decoys, but these were focused on premium flocked head decoys and premium painted head decoys.
Yeah.
Also, if you're enjoying these podcasts, make sure to leave a review. It helps out a lot.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to help. That's all I'm trying to do.
That's what we have you here for.
And if you
help.
want to hear about something, let us know.
Yeah.
You can always comment.
I like it.
Below, because we post these on social. So anytime we drop a podcast, you can always leave
Yeah.
a comment there and say, "Hey, why don't you guys talk about this, that, or other?"
Or slide
Sure.
into the Rogers Sporting Goods DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Always an option.
And if you're not following on Instagram and Facebook,
Oh, jeez.
Yes. There's that too.
you'll miss out. That's where you get all the good deals. You find out about it.
Subscribe to the emails.
Yep.
That's crazy
My
deals
dad,
right there.
Oh,
my
yeah.
dad made a
If you're-
post yesterday because the weather was changing. Speaking of ducks, and he's like, you feel it. I mean, it's ramping up. This cold front moving in just makes you really want to get out there. Unless you're Josh, and then it doesn't matter. You just hunt.
Yeah.
I just go.
Yeah, real quick, we got Josh from Outdoor Limits with us. He's been with us the past few podcasts, off and on. He's close to us, so we call him up and bug him every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Then AA Ron
AA RON.
and Patrick
Hello.
coming over from the store, hanging out, doing some videos and podcasts and stuff. And Chandler over here talking.
Just let you guys pick on me.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're just going to dive in. I mean, everybody loves mallard decoys.
They are the essential.
If you're a duck hunter, you love mallard decoys.
Well, if you think about it, that's what most decoy spreads are predominantly. If you're hunting puddle style ducks, obviously if you're hunting divers on the big water, you're running a diver spread, but most of your duck hunters are going to run mallards.
I mean, isn't it the most the biggest population of species, duck wise?
Oh yeah, mallards are our number one selling decoys. So yeah,
The number one taken bird, probably.
Yeah.
They're kind of the best thing ever.
Yep.
That's
In
why we
fact-
all get up in the morning and do this.
yes,
In fact, even though you can shoot a hen, most people will just pick
pass.
out the greenheads.
Try to pass.
You know.
You know what else I like about mallards? They're delicious.
Yeah.
You leave a little bit of fat on that breast.
Sometimes.
Yeah, if you cook them
Most
right.
of the time.
I've had some people
Most
cook
of the
them.
time. I've had some really
Do you put them in your
bad
smoker,
mallards.
Aaron?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like one time I had these mallards. I just shot 2 for the day. So I was like, you know what? I'll take my time. I'll pluck them and do the whole thing. Well, one turned out to be really tasty. One turned out to taste like garbage.
Really?
The fat
Cook the same.
cooked the same. Like the fat colors were just so different. It was like one tasted good because it was probably eating corn and like smartweed and stuff. One tasted like garbage because it was probably eating bugs. I don't know. There's so much variance in that. But
True story.
Have you ever put them in your smoker?
No, I have not.
Wonder if there's a good
I've put
recipe for
goose.
that.
I've put goose.
You have
I have.
tried smoking. What's the?
So
is that not?
Here's the problem I have with it, because most of the time when you smoke meat, like a brisket or a pork butt, there's a lot of fat inside the meat. Whereas if you look at like a mallard, the fat's on top of the meat. And so what happens is you put it on the smoke. Yeah, it'll get some smoke flavor, but oftentimes, it just kind of overcooks it. It's almost better to cook waterfowl hot and fast.
Cast iron.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'd love to smoke one. I've done it before, and it's never really been that great because it always turns out overcooked.
Right.
I found
Dry out super quick.
I wouldn't say it gets dry. It just gets really gamey. Like I like my ducks rare.
Yes, 100%.
All right.
I did pick up a new sauce that I'm planning on glazing some with. It's like I think it's a cherry habanero sauce.
Yep.
Ooh, man.
We,
Yes,
we
please.
do a lot of that. We, skin on duck breasts, and we do like a sweet chili sauce kind of thing. There's a couple different versions out there.
Last year I figured out the Buffalo Wild Wings mango habanero sauce is phenomenal on duck. You put
Never
it on.
tried it.
You put it on, let it get a little set up. Oh my goodness!
You like some duck fajitas, real thin strips, so it's tender, real hot. Cook them quick,
And that Tex-Mex stuff.
and then in like a Tex-Mex or like I've seen, like a mustard marinade type, and then a quick, just real hot flash in the pan, and then put that with some fajita veggies and put it over some rice or something.
We just ate. I'm hungry again.
I agree. The one waterfowl that I put in a smoker, a buddy and I brined some honker breasts overnight one time, and like a brine, like you'd put turkey or something in, and then threw them in the smoker and cooked them to where they were like a very, very medium, not quite medium rare,
That
but
was
very
goose?
medium goose. Typically, I'm not a big fan of anything other than like honker turkey or sausage, but putting it in the brine overnight kept it from drying out too bad and gave it a good flavor.
I made Jamaican jerk goose. I've made it a lot of times now.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Oh my goodness, it is delicious.
Okay, I'm on board.
So, can you bring some stuff for us to nibble on next time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to have food for these podcasts.
I actually just took my Traeger out of the backseat of my truck yesterday.
It does me no good.
Well, let me know next time. We can have a cookout.
Every week.
and do the podcast at the same time.
We'll do the podcast
Ooh.
and a cookout.
Do like a cookout show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why couldn't we set all this up out in the back of the
And we
parking
could-
lot out back and just
We'll
have
set up a
cookout?
video,
Yeah.
some snippets. We'll have some recipes. Be tasty.
We need the meats.
That's true. I guess we gotta have
We
the
gotta shoot
meats
some
in
mallards.
hand.
I was going to say, the only person that's been waterfowl hunting
Yeah.
at this table so far.
I've got some teal and doves.
I'd sign me
Sure.
up.
Dove poppers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over the past weekend, I went to Walmart. They were all out of jalapenos,
I bet.
and I was like, "Oh no, I want to make poppers."
All the doves are gone because the jalapenos have been bought out.
Well, I ended up getting some serrano peppers.
That works too.
Yeah.
They worked out good. They just don't have the cavity space like a jalapeno does.
Oh, that's a good point. For the cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
But it worked. They weren't as hot as I thought they were going to be because I guess serranos are like 3 times hotter than a jalapeno.
I did not know that.
They weren't that hot.
Man,
I'm really getting hungry now.
Y'all want to talk decoys?
Yes, because I'm
Sure.
starving
Let's
now.
dive into this.
so I mean,
We got a pile here.
so Pat's been selling decoys for a long time. Like he right now he's probably the most face to face with the customers when they're coming into the store and looking for mallards.
What's
Yeah,
the number
you've
one
seen
question
some.
you get?
You've seen some. Well, I'll tell you. So
Yeah.
I'm 10 years now. Over in the waterfowl and hunting department, and you see trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, which that's definitely changed. Like, and there's still
So what's one of the number one trends you've seen change?
one piece
People want one piece, not
and
two pieces.
an EVA.
Okay.
So if you're looking for that, if you're looking for those features, that's the word I was looking for, is a one-piece design, and then that softer new EVA material, which Chandler knows a little bit more about how that's made. But
Ethylene vinyl acetate.
yeah,
That one.
exactly what he said. You have to have a chemistry degree to. But I've seen that as the most popular. Brand wise, I mean, not to, pick one over the other, but that has changed, right? Because you get highs and lows, and one year something new might come out, and so everybody jumps on board. Like there for a while when Avian X came out, and it was just bonkers.
Yeah, and that was
The
I think that
one
was
piece, like the EVA soft,
That was the first time I think I saw EVA in the market.
and we're talking probably 8 years ago now.
Yeah,
Something like that. And so decent, it was just like extreme. Everybody was, and then there for a while, like, and it's been pretty consistent every year, but the Dakota Extremes, which I think we have one out here.
No,
We did a review on the
Yeah, we had the
flock
flock
head
head version.
because yes,
we're all familiar with that duck.
right, but it's a little taller, little bigger than most, but the depth they put in and the cutout, and
The
it's-
carving and all that.
yeah,
all the
just
detail.
like super detailed. It's a 2-piece design, but it's been popular for a long time.
Yeah, over 10
Is the
years.
Dakota Extreme? So
I remember my first Dakotas I ever bought where they came with 2 different heads. You had the flocked head option and the painted head option.
yeah,
And the hens were a completely different color. They were like a light blonde. Now they're more of a dirty blonde, I guess. And the painted drake heads were so cool. They had tons of like purple and blue on them. And green, obviously, but they had a lot of paint detail on the painted heads.
Yeah.
But they stopped that 10 years ago, if not 11 years ago.
like over the past 3 years, if you just was like, hey, what's the most popular? And I'd say it's, XDs came out, and then the new FA EVA, flocked head or a lot of I think most people like flocked head, especially they just like that pop and that nice
The contrast.
look on that
Yeah.
green head. But those two right now, obviously XDs are new, I think we're going
3
on
or
our
4 years
third
into
year.
them, yeah.
Now they've expanded their line and they're doing XDs and other species now besides mallards.
Yeah.
But durability wise, like that was a big thing. Remember the old
video.
video? I mean, you guys tried destroying an XD and couldn't.
That was such a fun video.
I mean, short of sawing it in half, you didn't break it.
Correct.
I mean, you ran over it with a truck.
We hit it with bats.
Which I
We
thought it
jumped
was
on
going to pop when you drove over it with the truck. I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
the
How's it not gonna
pressure
explode.
how's it not going to explode? Popped right back too, which is crazy. I mean, you drug it around. You besides some, I would say they're more heat marks from dragging them around on asphalt. So you get that little
in the summer.
in the summer. But beyond that, I mean, you played baseball with them and rubbed them together constantly, and then the new FAs with that EVA and the flocked head, and just
Yeah, AVNX has been doing it too. Yeah, that was a fun video. We stuck 2 stickers on the bottom of the decoys.
and we still have them at the store.
And yeah, it's crazy. Just so we can show in the video that we're not like changing the decoy or anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we had a batting cage at the last warehouse we had, so we took some swings there with the decoys, and then we continuously rubbed them together.
Jumped
up on we did our test, like we jumped with our body weight, and then we ran it over
with a truck.
GMC
Half ton.
1500 half ton.
Yeah.
And then we tied it to the hitch and drug it around in circles in the parking lot for
All
a
right.
while
Just
too.
to try to rough up the paint.
Yeah. And then in the video, you can see, the damage done. Which
I mean, you get
hardly could tell with the
slight
human eye.
blemishes, but just if you just glanced at it, be like, oh, it looks good. You wouldn't know that
No.
the duck had been through turmoil.
So let's go back to that. What's the number one question you get at the store
Number one question,
when people are looking for decoys?
paint.
Adhesion.
I mean, adhesion, like durability.
What's the most durable?
But I think they're looking more for, and when I say durability, not the decoy itself, like the keel popping off or something like that. They're looking for paint adhesion quality, right? Everybody does the finger test, or I'll look down the aisle and they're scraping it on the wood, or
get their car keys out, or
which is funny because I mean, I know what you're doing. You're testing it. You want to see if the paint's going to hold up. That's not normal wear and tear. you don't buy decoys, go home and scrape them. Banging them together would be more normal.
Sure.
Throwing them in the trailer and rubbing other decoys. But that's what most people want. They don't want to hunt through a season and half the decoys paint's chipped off.
no, nobody wants
So
that.
that's their number one is, okay, what decoys got really good paint adhesion? And is that why they came out with the, I mean, do you get better paint adhesion with the
that's where
EVA?
EVA started to really. I mean, not only does the plastic flex and bend into any type of chipping or cracks or anything, but on through a microscope, that EVA foam is more porous than the classic HDPE, or even before that ABS. The ABS is some of the older, sounds like that big old baseball bat you had when a kid, like that plastic baseball
Oh,
bat.
the big orange bat.
Yeah, that's ABS.
Would have had the best sound.
Yeah, the thunk.
Now is that heat set, or is the paint put on when the mold is cold? Every now and again, do they paint it when it's warm and it's heat set in there, or is it just painted on? Are all decoys done after they've cooled and dried and they're
cooled and
normal
dried, and then they're
temperature?
painted, and then they're cooked.
And then they're cooked? Do they cook all decoys? Paint on like after it's done,
after
and then
they're
they'll
done,
send them through
And there's
whatever
a couple,
process
there's
that
a couple
is.
different companies do different things.
Gotcha.
Like
Some's proprietary. That you really don't know what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. And Flambeau.
I mean, I'd have to be
Didn't
there
they do
to
something?
see it.
Didn't
But
Flambeau do something different? Instead of heat, they did. What was it? I can't remember now.
I was just wondering if you've seen it in action, or maybe.
Wasn't like infrared or anything, was it?
It might have been something. I thought Flambeau did something. Hold on one second.
I don't remember.
Touchdown.
Yes.
Let's just throw the iPad.
Bye.
I couldn't figure out how to turn the notification thing
Oh,
off, but it's all right.
So I've got a question about EVA, right? You called it EVA foam.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between foam and plastic?
Yeah. I mean, but
So is this XD
yeah,
foam or plastic since it's EVA?
it's a foam plastic.
Wait. What?
So like when you look at a Lifetime, like that's what I think of
Foam.
when you say foam. I think of
Correct.
that, not
But that
This.
still is foam.
it's almost like, and I'm going to jump
And I
in
just
here.
threw the iPad away. I could have looked it up.
It's all right.
But
And I'm going to jump in here, and maybe it's like this. When you make, and this is off topic here, but when you make candy, most of it's all made the same. It depends how long you cook the sugar. It gets harder or softer.
it's like the difference
So a
between
hard
tortilla,
piece of candy-
tortilla and bread. That's what I'm talking
a
about.
hard piece of candy is the same as the soft, chewy Jolly Rancher versus the hard one. They were just cooked ones longer and not as long, and so it's the same but different. The thickness and the pliability, and
air
so I'm
content.
guessing it's they're both an EVA style
So-
foam plastic.
So yeah, I think that we're using plastic as a general term. I think a lot of decoys are made out of LD or HDPE, low density or high density polyurethane. No, yeah, I think so. I'm getting all the names
We're getting
wrong.
nerdy.
Yes.
But that's okay.
But
the-
most
the-
decoys are the EVA now.
Yeah, the what did I say? Ethylene vinyl acetate or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different mixture than the classic plastic that we're dealing with. I think we're dealing with. It's just polyethylene is different than.
And then what did they call on the Dakota? It didn't say EVA. It said
It's
MVA or
it's EVA.
yeah.
They had MEVA molded EVA.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah. You're right. Meva.
But
It's not a sugar.
why these Heyday Flex Float mallards are different than the XDs in your hand or the FAs. It's the XDs and FAs are blow molded, and the Heyday Decoys is a different manufacturing process, and I don't know 100% how that's exactly done.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so
Done, like
probably
in
every
person.
other decoy manufacturer. I think they all. I
everybody
think they all
wants
know
to.
now.
Everybody wants to get in on that. But because that was my first thought when they came out, and everybody likes a different look. But I thought for the material that it seemed it was on, I was like, pretty good job.
Yeah,
Like, look pretty good for the material it's on. I didn't know how that would adhesive.
so
to
if
that.
if you haven't been to our store and felt all these decoys with your hands and touched them or used them, that Heyday, previously known as Lifetime decoy, feels like a crock, and
Yeah.
the XDs and the FA Live series and Avian Top Flights feel like a soft plastic. But when you're blow molding those soft plastics, it's the hot air is pushing this foam with a lot of pressure against the mold. That's when you get those thinner walls. I mean, it depends on how much material you put in the blow mold is how thick your walls are going to be. But the Heydays are just a different process. I don't think they're blow molded. I could be wrong.
So you're telling me they're basically the same material except they're just processed differently.
Yep.
Gotcha. So it's all foam,
Yeah.
but
Technically.
the qualities are different.
Yeah, what they do. Tortillas are pressed and breads are allowed to rise.
That makes sense.
Ah. Ooh.
Yes.
Back to food.
Why? Why you got to go there?
It is. I mean, mallards are mallards, but every company does their little twist.
Yeah.
Their little unique thing that they do. Like when you guys did the comparison earlier. and the sizing and just a little bit variation, a little bit keel difference, and
so people are coming to you. First question is durability on paint. Probably because 15 years ago we dealt with ABS decoys that would just chip or the paint would flake off, and they wouldn't last a long time. So then we got to this newer process. Now, is anybody asking about? Let's start with like head positions, or like body postures, or anything like that.
Not as much, but what I try to do, especially, just offering, right, what's out there, but what's unique, like Final Approach does so many different head positions. And so when they talk about the paint and the durability and, and I'm deciding, and I try to show them everything and all, like we're doing here, right? We'll bring them together so they can see size comparison and stuff. They don't necessarily bring it up. I do for them so they can see what's out there that they might not have yet to add to their spread. Kind of like you do for the FA silhouettes, right? The different gens, you get different positions, so you can always add to your spread and you get different looks.
Yeah.
The same with some of these. I think the XD does different head positions.
XD's got a lot of different head positions.
And so,
but then you go to Heyday.
But I don't know if that's the biggest factor.
Yeah, you go to Heyday and they have one.
Or maybe two. I think they've got, in the painted heads, they've got like a low head and then a little bit different high head. But I mean, there's not a lot of variety.
Maybe like a resting and a semi-resting, but not like a super high active. Like a Dakota, you get that real tall neck.
ABNX has a lot of head positions.
Yep.
Green headgear, FA. Trying to think of who else. Those probably have the most.
Yeah. I think first is
durability.
Quality, durability, right? Just across the board. But that's, I get it for anything you buy. And then two is the look and the one piece. I think more people seem to be migrating towards one piece design than two piece. Now, there's probably pros and cons to both. And we talk about it at the store is you get a one piece, and if the head or something is bad or whatever, or the body, that's it. That decoy's done. With a two piece, like Dakota offers replaceable heads. So if the head's bad, you can buy the pack of replaceable heads. You can keep your bodies and, so, but overall one piece seems to be the more popular, and it might change in 5 years again. And, somebody's going to come out with something, and waterfowl industry is ever changing.
So are these questions from new duck hunters or hunters that have been out there for a while? Because I've tried to figure out like how many decoys do I need rank on that list?
Yeah, so new hunters, new to waterfowl, wanting to get into it, their first question, even over durability, is what do I need to get into it? What's the minimum? And I've brought this up before, and this is kind of where we go to Josh on, what's the minimum? And he's brought up, sometimes you hunt with less now than ever before. I usually tell people, I think 3 dozen is just a good number to have starting at. And then they always ask me, well, what kinds? And I'm like, well, at 3 dozen, just get your mallards. And if you want to buy more, get some more mallards. And then if you want more, get some more mallards still. And then we'll talk about mixing in your divers and pintails and wood ducks. And
well, I think that you got a point with the mallards, but I do think that there's a good place for teal decoys because they're good for filling space on the water, and they're generally at a bit of a lower price. So you get twice the number of teal decoys for the same price as like a dozen mallards.
It doesn't take up a lot of room, and you can
Yeah, pack
You
them
know.
in, all that good stuff.
Plus, teal decoys are
Right.
always great to have because you can use them in teal season, early season, late season. Like, they're just all around a great decoy.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah,
t-
a good green wing. I mean,
And I tell you, that's
Yeah.
there's where, is the FA last pass mallards would be a great pickup
Yeah.
to expand your spread, but still have mallards. They're lighter. You can fill in. And so I always tell, to answer your question, I know that was super detailed. It's like a Bill Belichick answer. Is new customers is always, how many do I need? But customers that have been coming to me for years will ask, one, what's new out there that I haven't seen yet? And two, is something changed and the durability's better and paint?
Sure. I think we're talking about those FA last pass mallards. Can't you get like 3 dozen in one of their big mesh bags?
Yep. You get 3 dozen rigs and a mesh bag all in one pack.
That's one kit, yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes on your back, and you can go in and hunt.
So talk about a great kit for a starter.
Yeah.
That right there is
Right.
And it comes in a good price point, too.
Yeah.
So
And you've got everything you need.
and we've been talking about premium mallards in the videos, and we have them on the table. What separates these premium mallards and the, say, like an essential pack from GHG or a last pass pack from FA is head positions, body size, plastic, and the amount of paint work that goes into the decoy. So when we're talking about premium decoys, their life size are bigger. They have the most current advanced technology in the plastic, foam, whatever. And then they have as much paint details as they want to put into them. The companies do, as far as
stenciling and
all
colors.
the stencils and colors, and they want them to look just like a real mallard. That's what we're talking about on premium decoys.
Yeah.
So most of them, I would say, are probably a little bit bigger than life size, slightly oversized. I would say that there's a ton of detail in the carve. You're going to get the most head positions.
Yeah.
So like those economy decoys, yeah, it's usually one head position.
Yeah, you get your upright,
And
your
that's it.
active head.
Active,
Right.
yeah, it's all actives, and that's it.
And then you get in premiums, you're getting feeders, you're getting resters, you're getting uprights. You maybe get a preener.
Yeah.
You might get a drinker. FA does a drinker.
Calling hen.
Yeah, FA
Yeah.
does it calling in. They got some unique poses there. But GHG XDs have a really cool rester, and they got the carve is like one side of the body. He's got his wing up real high, and you see the speculum feathers and everything, and then the next decoy doesn't have that because it's a different head position. So the guy carving it is carving it towards to that posture, which is just a lot of detail into that.
Yeah, typically the contrast between the colors on the premium, like if you look at all these, you can see every variation from the browns to the grays to black, white. It's all, defined and detailed and feathering. And
When you guys looking at premium decoys, are they talking to you about paint detail, or like the colors? They don't like this color, they like that color, because all these are similar, but they're not the same. Some are darker, some are lighter.
Some have a little bit more white to them. Some have a little bit more cream color to them.
yeah, and some guys have a preference, and maybe Josh can school us on this, is even for people that have been hunting a while, and I'm not sure either, but they'll be like, I want some white. So they'll look for like the
January
like
mallard.
a January mallard, or even the Lifetime's a little lighter. Battleship, the Higdon is a little bit lighter versus like the XD or the FA or the Avian X are a little darker, and they want it to pop. So middle of the season, like starting out coming up, versus late season, obviously I know with the change and they get lighter, but do they some guys want that lighter color because they feel that shows up more on the water and it pops more, versus like a true coloring earlier on to be more FA or Avian X, something like that. Do you care on color?
I was going to ask
for the season.
I was going to ask you, what's your question, Pat?
No, I know. I'm long-winded. But do you care on light or darker? Does color matter that much?
So you can look at it a couple different ways. So like the lighter decoys, they're definitely going to pop on the water, right? They're just brighter. They're going to reflect more sunlight. But why do people put black ducks in their decoy spread?
It's contrast.
Contrast. So, it's two sides, right? You can go with a darker decoy and get more contrast on the water, or you can go with a lighter decoy and it'll reflect a little bit more. Now, I like both. I think that they're both going to work out well for you, but I do think that going with kind of like just the regular, not too dark, not too light, just right in the middle, puts you in a good spot.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole year and
For all conditions.
And it gives you just the right amount of color on the water. I mean, if you really wanted some pop in your spread, you'd throw some redheads or bluebills out there. Like those are some really white decoys.
Pintails, spoonies.
Yeah.
Something with some white to it. That's exactly right.
I do get the shine question some.
Yeah. A lot of decoys now we don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
They're all pretty matte finished.
Yeah, and we were talking about like the plastic durability and paint durability. Like with these new premium decoys, I don't think it's an issue with any of them, really. It just comes down to the material. The material that the decoys have been made out of has changed, and now everybody's using something very similar. It's got the durability. It's got the paint adhesion qualities. So, I don't think the durability is really much.
And if I'm not mistaken, but typically every company before these hit the market, most of them are hunted with and tested for a season.
Yeah.
By those guys.
If not more.
Like, yeah, before a guy, I remember when the fully flocked Averys came out, and they brought in the ones that they used all season, because people are like, well, how are these going to hold up? But, and maybe not everybody knows that, but they don't make them and just put them out there on the shelf.
Next week we could do a fully flocked mallard review.
Right. But most all of them, they're hunted with pretty hard for a season to see if they hold up.
Yeah, because we've got a Dakota fully flocked, a Higdon fully flocked, a GHG fully flocked, and an FA fully flocked.
Yeah.
Quite a few have been out
That's
there now.
4. Who else?
No.
I'm trying to think. Okay, go ahead, Pat.
No, you're all right. Now, storage-wise, though, do you trailer all yours and throw them all together, or do you slotted bags or not? And everybody, I've seen it all.
I don't use bags anymore. I use Texas rigs and tie them in a knot and hang them up.
Okay, so that's even different yet. And so do you hang them in a trailer? Or your trailer, or you?
I put them in my shed.
So
Actually, when I hang them, I don't leave the knot in there just because leaving them in that knot could kink the line over time.
When you Texas rig them up, do you put them in a bag to transport back?
No.
Or just throw them in your
They
boat?
go in the boat, go in the sled,
Okay.
go in the bed of the truck, over the shoulder. I don't mess with bags anymore.
And you hunt quite a bit. And so this is alluding to some of the questions I get, but with the durability is, they're like, well, after a season, I don't want any chipping and all that stuff. And
Here's the deal, is it's not necessarily the decoys that are causing the wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you put on your decoys that causes the wear and tear. Over the past years, I've noticed when I'm using rigs with an uncoated weight, it is rubbing against the decoys, and you can see significant wear and tear from the lines that weight is rubbing on that decoy. But after I started using coated weights from FA on my decoys, I haven't seen that happening on them.
Yeah, that's something that people overlooked maybe for years.
It's not the decoys rubbing; it's all the other stuff that's right next to the decoys.
And you're throwing them into your trailer or in your boat, and they're hitting stuff and over again in days of hunting.
But here's the deal: it's like the inside of my trailer is wood.
Yeah.
The wood's not very abrasive.
Yeah.
I've got a bed liner in the bed of my truck. That's not very abrasive. Now, when you start throwing them on concrete or on gravel or any kind of really, I mean, it's like taking sandpaper to your decoy. What do you expect is going to happen?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I've got to where I like coated cable better than mono too, just because mono, oh my gosh, it's got bad memory.
Yes, it does.
But I'd say overall, with these premium decoys, the paint quality from 10 years ago when I started till now,
Yeah.
huge difference in quality and long lasting, and you give them the fingernail test, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of all of them. They're phenomenal.
Yeah,
with
and
the quality.
I mean, they're all about as good as they're going to get for the time being until something new and innovative comes out. They're not built to be indestructible, which a lot of people like to think that decoys are built to withstand anything you throw at them. I mean, they're a painted piece of plastic.
Sure.
They're going to show wear and tear over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
it's inevitable.
like a new car, no scratches till you get the first one, and then oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing too. People are like, man, why can't this decoy be indestructible? Well, it can for $400 a dozen.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep things in perspective. Like, do you want to pay $400 a dozen, or do you want to be able to afford it, and then you'll just have to buy more at some point?
Yeah, and one thing that I used to do all the time was I would use my decoys until I was like, you know what, these decoys, they've seen better days. It's time to replace. And what I would do is I'd, like, whether ones are shot or whatever, I'd have a pack that I bought and just replace the ones that are bad. And then I would just go through and replace
Right.
as needed.
Yeah, I guess the best option, and money wasn't an option, and you'd buy rigs and you'd buy bags for all of them with slotted, and they'd have a nice cinch top on it, and you would take the weight off your decoy every time,
But who
slot
has
your decoy
time to do that?
right, and then when you got out there, you'd unbag each one, put your rig on each one, and throw it out, and then the decoys never, were in contact with anything. But that's,
Not
let's
reality.
think how much time and effort we put into going out early, and you're putting out how many ever dozen, and rigs, and and all your other gear. So you're tossing them in the trailer, you're putting them in big bags or no bags, or so yeah, you're gonna get wear and tear on them over the years.
You can do your best to minimize it, but it's bound to happen. But I've been using the FA decoys over the past few years, and honestly, compared to what I was using beforehand, huge upgrade. Like, when it comes down to durability, I used all the EVA puddlers they came out with last year, and I was not babying them at all because I'd like to test the decoys and see what can be improved and things of that nature. And for the most part, I wash it off, wipe it off. Looks like it just came out of the box.
Yeah.
It's in this new material that they're making decoys out of. It's just above and beyond anything previously.
Are people asking about sizing a lot more? Like, do they want to have the option of a standard, oversized, super magnum?
I think there's a fine line between. They like the, I don't want to say super magnum, like giant, but they want that little bit bigger than a standard mallard.
Like, what's on the table here? Except
Yes,
for the battleship.
exactly. They want that decent size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know a better way. Not a super magnum battleship,
And
giant
not,
overall.
Yeah, and not just a true life size, but just that 10 to 20% bigger.
Yep, exactly.
I do have something to chime in on size. You know how we touched on like the economy mallards, the Last Pass or the Hunter series or whatever. So I get a lot of questions because I use both regularly. I use the full size and I use the little guys, and I get questions regularly from people who watch the videos saying, does size make a difference? Like, how do you like them compared to this? Have you noticed? And honestly, what I can say is I have not noticed any difference in how the birds decoy into a smaller decoy versus a bigger decoy, which is surprising.
And do you feel like you put out the same numbers? Like, you're not putting out twice as many small decoys and then putting out like 6 dozen last passes and then 3 dozen lives?
No, there'd be
from-
days where I run 2 dozen lives or I run 2 dozen last pass.
Yeah. A big thing for you, I guess, it's like what decoys do you need to take to get you to your X?
Exactly.
Because sometimes the last passes will fit on the kayak. But if you're taking the big boat, what are you bringing?
There were days where I was taking like 12 dozen.
Yeah.
Well, I think you hit something there is hunting the X and being in the right area, and are ducks flying that day or not, regardless of size.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Being on the X's, that's it.
you could put out 50 dozen
And here.
and it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter, no.
Or you could put out 8 and have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
So, another
But one thing with these premium decoys now is the weight difference between these decoys and then what they were 10 years ago.
yeah,
Big time.
minus the two, like if you took out the bottom end with the heyday and took out the top weight with the battleship,
Foam
filled, which is why you're getting that extra weight. I think all the others were within a quarter of a pound of each other.
Yeah, within a quarter to half, exactly.
And I do get that. I remember days, guys will have 2 decoys in there and they closing their eyes and like I put them in their hand. They're, well, that one, that they're that close.
It just reminds me of this
So-
real quick at the store when people are testing out fishing rods. They like stick the tip of the rod against another guy's throat, and they like you're trying to
like-
test the vibration and
Right.
sensitivity.
Yeah. I mean, they're so close that I wouldn't get caught up on the weight
No.
overall. With that being said, there's 2 that are going to be outliers here. If you're a person that wants, and we were talking about after we were talking about that diver pack, like if you want true low weight, maybe you're a guy that hunts all public and you got a mile walk in and not and you're hunting like a marsh where there's not a ton of wind and it's super shallow, and you can take the weights out of those heydays under a pound,
Yeah, 0.82.
super lightweight,
Yeah.
and that would be the decoy for you.
14,
If
yeah,
you
14
want
ounces or
no
15
weight,
ounces, something
Yeah.
like that.
and maybe you're running. Well, if there's no, I mean, I've seen guys just throw them out. They don't even rig them up. They'll just put them out, in like a cove in like a flooded marsh that's super shallow.
I guess it's
You
true.
know,
If you're in a
they're-
marsh,
They're not going to move too much. But if you did want to rig them up, you take the weights out and then just did a 3 ounce, something super light.
yeah, the lighter the decoy, the less weight you have to have.
Yeah.
to hold
And
it
so that would be for the person that wants like the least amount of weight as possible, because you're able to take that weight out. On the higher end, the battleships, because they're foam filled, were just over 2 pounds.
down. Yeah, almost 2.5.
Yeah.
2.3.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what you get with both of those, though, is the
Unsinkability.
unsinkability.
It's kind of funny. Both ends of the spectrum, you get the indestructible
Right.
part.
You do get, yeah. I mean, the other ones, if they got shot accidentally, wherever that hole's at, you're going to get water in there. And, over time, right, you got the one duck either butt up or butt down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're like, okay, but on those, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I feel like the battleships, are a great decoy to leave out at a permanent blind.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether
Or-
it's a duck club or some type of permanent place you have
Sure.
set up, you can
or
leave
if
those out.
Weight is not an issue if you've got a big boat and you're not trying to go far, you're not in a hurry to get in. Yeah, if weight and storage is not an issue, the battleship, man, those things are huge.
They're all pretty indestructible. Like that, the heyday decoy, you could stand on, and the way that it's built will just pop back too.
Mm-hmm.
But I could probably stand on all these, and they're not gonna, they're gonna pop back too. But the way that one's built,
Yeah, did old hard plastic decoys, whenever they change temperatures, did they like dent
I've
every
seen
once in a while?
some dent, and then I have seen with the old plastic ones, if you did a step test on those,
It'd shatter.
you could crack that seam down the
yeah.
top of the back. And I'm talking like when I first started, there was a decoy that I could squeeze real hard, and I could pop that seal on its back just by squeezing it. And
Jeez.
it was that thin. So I'm not there's not one out there I could do that now, and I'm not going to name whose it was, but I could.
You should, and we'll bleep it out.
We don't offer them anymore,
Oh,
Okay.
well, then that's fair enough.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
But they did. I'm like, and then, and they've all come a long ways, like the keels, right? And the durability and how they're attached. I mean, there's been some companies where I went to show a customer and I'm like, the keel's really strong, and I barely pulled on it
It came out.
and I ripped the keel right off. I'm like, well, maybe not that one.
Do you guys remember those decoys where you could remove the keel?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that,
Oh, they slid
wasn't
off?
that Greenhacker that did that?
Did they
I
do
don't
one?
know if they did that. It'd be before my time, but I think Hardcore, the brand that we used to carry for a little bit, Hardcore had that, didn't they? You slide the keels on.
Maybe it was Avery. I think it was like
They might have
Avery-
had one that did that.
That was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
There's been so
But
many
then-
interesting things.
You would,
Was that
you would
to-
toss them out with
Yeah.
the weight
Yeah.
and the keel, and then they would separate from the duck. And you wouldn't have the keel and the weight anymore.
Now, was that to be more of a design like the Dakota
Shell.
Dabbler?
Shallow water and or field ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a company for a while that made stands that you could put your floaters in too.
Yeah.
I made some out of paper towel
there's
holders from
some-
Dollar Tree.
Did you?
That video went viral.
That's funny.
Oh, no, those are the risers. Those are for field decoys. But
So talking about keels, though, I do have a question.
yeah.
So when you're looking at the keel design on these decoys, they're all a little bit different. Like comparing this to this,
He's holding up a top flight in an FA.
like this one's got these little ridges in it, and then this has the ridges in it, but they're in different spots. This one's thicker than that. Like
Right.
there's no
Everybody's,
consistencies between these keels.
Yep. Everybody's got a different keel. Heyday, no keel.
Well,
it's
it's got
more of like a pontoon style keel.
Yeah.
So
the flambeau gunning.
They're all
going
to be a weight forward keel.
yeah, explain that a little bit, because this XD has a 60-40 keel is what they call it.
60% of the weight's in the front.
And what benefit does that give you?
Truer ride. Riding over chop or, not
Well, and wouldn't in
in
an
current.
actual mallard, 60% of their weight's up front anyways, probably.
Probably.
With the head and everything is up there. So
Yeah.
normal sitting in the water
Yeah.
would be more weight forward.
Yeah, AVNX does the same thing too. They kind of have just they're
It
more as a
tapers.
cylindrical shape, and it gets bigger towards the front.
Your Higdon does the same
That's
thing.
the
In
green
current
head.
and in waves and a lot of that, it's going to make them ride through that chop or ride true.
I guess that one would be.
Yeah, that gunning series is
They do
different.
something
Theirs is
different.
different.
It's like a split keel and then weights
And the
Towards
weight's
the
towards
back.
the back.
on each side. Are those pop riveted in? Looks like riveted in.
Yep.
Are there any companies that offer water keels anymore?
Not that I know
Not
of.
that I know of.
Those things were
All
awesome.
all sand.
Those water keels were awesome.
Yes.
Well, we all work with a guy, besides Jesus Josh, that he turns his decoys into water keels. He'll
Yeah.
just go and he'll
Drill
take a
out.
sawzall and he'll just like take the back cap off and cut the front of the keel off, and now you have a water keel.
Yeah, and there's a tip for you guys. If you're looking to cut weight on your decoys and maybe you don't have the money to spend on the heydays that are pretty expensive, you can take the sand out of the keel of any decoy, really, and then you want to make sure you leave some holes in it for water to go into.
Exactly.
You need it. You need the water to. I think you cut the front off and the back off.
Well, you don't want to cut the front. That's where rigging goes.
Oh, I
But
guess
you
that's
could,
true.
Yeah, you just
cut-
drill a couple holes throughout. And
yeah,
leave
with like
it
a
up.
1/2 inch drill bit.
Yeah, and then that's where most of your weight in your decoy is
Yeah.
is in the sand.
Yeah.
I should do that.
You should try it on some.
I should do like the ultralight. I did that last year technically, but the super spread ultralight.
You should just try it on some mallards.
Yeah.
See what you like.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to probably go out and self-ride them.
Yeah. Well, that's
When you toss the decoys out, it's gonna land in it, and that sand is in the keel is gonna get these decoys all to turn right side up, and you don't have to go
Yes.
mess with them.
yes, but I've hunted with the heyday style decoys before, and when I took the keel weights out of them, they didn't self.
They didn't self-ride.
So
I'm looking
apples
at
and
all
oranges
the
here. Or is it apples to apples or whatever? I don't know.
Apples to mangoes.
I'm looking at the coloring of all the heads.
Most of them are all similar
And
besides.
yeah, they do.
What about shine? We're looking at painted heads. So the shininess of the heads. Are you guys
And you
about that or not about that? Having like a little bit of shine on the
So
head?
yeah, there's some companies like XD and FA have a little sheen, a little shine, but then like the battleships are pretty matte.
Mm-hmm.
But Flambeaus are a
Gunning,
little bit
Flambeau's a little more shine.
But when I see a mallard
Their head is shining.
on the water, they do have some sheen to them for sure.
And you get a little bit different coloring.
Yeah, the
Like the
iridescence.
Avian X, the iridescent with the purple, more of that, where the Higdon's just more
black and green.
flat black, flat green.
Yeah, the FA, it's like it changes colors as you spin it. Like you see more of the purple and blue on the back of the head, and then the green just kind of goes from really shiny and light to
Is that the XD
Dark.
January?
Yeah,
Aaron,
it's
you've
actually
got there?
January.
And so with that and the regular XD, the feathering, we talked about XD
stencil
here
on the head,
compares
yeah.
the stenciling on their
On the
head
cheek.
and like really brushing in feathering. Even see that on the gunning.
But overall, it seems like none of these decoys have a whole lot of shine to them.
No.
Like they're not going to reflect the sunlight.
I get that question more with silhouettes than anything. Not much with decoys that shine.
Is what silhouette's going to shine or not shine?
Yeah, just they want less shine on a silhouette.
Well, sure.
But decoy's not.
Yeah, when I see a
Not
goose
as
in the
much.
field, they ain't shining.
No, not really.
You see a duck when you see a duck on the water, I mean the head is what I see like that shine to
Mm-hmm.
that reflective.
Do you have a favorite on the table, Pat?
I'm an EVA guy too.
Mm-hmm.
One piece. I love one piece design. And maybe it's just laziness, but I don't want to mess with heads. But I like the XDs. The FA ones were newer for me, and so I have some of those as well. I mean, if you were just like, hey, pick out, I mean, they're so similar in weight and look and
Yeah, the FAs are a little bit bigger.
yeah,
but they both are about the same price,
yeah,
and
so
they have all the head positions
for
you
a
could ever want.
premium dozen one piece EVA. I do get the flocked heads. I'm a flocked head guy. I like flocked heads. So.
Which you can get both of those now. The XDs in the 12-pack of Harvesters is a flocked head,
Yeah.
or you can get a 12-pack of the FA Live EVAs in a flocked head.
With a bag.
With a bag, that is correct.
And so that's just kind of what I lean to. But I would, if I'd take any of these.
Yeah, there's not a decoy
Like
on the
I
table
would,
I wouldn't hunt.
I'd take them all. They're all,
They look like a duck.
pretty similar.
Yeah, jumping back to that at Flambeau, me and Aaron have hunted with that and did some videos on that. That thing
It moves.
moves.
And hardly
100%.
anyway.
You put it next to any other of these keel decoys, and I'd be interesting to put it up to the head to head with the Heyday, but that gunning style has kind of like a like a shallow water boat belly, like the same water displacement, bottom like a shallow like a boat that you ride in, and that keel keeps it, self-riding, but that thing dances around with that weight in the back too. It really, really moves with minimal wind, and I think the Heyday does that as well. But,
Agreed. They move a ton.
So yeah,
On the wing coloring, do they all have, besides the Avian X?
Yeah, they all have
It
the
looks
speculum,
like-
which we covered in our video. Yeah.
Okay,
And
just
I
to
was-
throw that out for
Avianex Top
someone.
Flight, do they used to have the speculum painted on their decoys?
Gosh, so they've made a few changes now over the couple of years.
And I don't remember that much purple on the back.
Owners is what I'm talking about. And
Sure.
who owns them? So I don't know if that's changed because of that.
I don't know, but when I dug through that fusion pack, none of them had the speculum. And that was a fusion
I wanna
6-pack
say
on the
no.
painted heads.
I want to say no.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that's basically the style it's been.
So we could go dig
maybe
through that flocked head 12 pack, but I want to say I
maybe
don't remember seeing
slightly
it in them.
change some coloring, but overall,
They've got that a little bit oranger bill too, which personally I'm not a huge fan of, but
and they're not the darkest.
No.
XD, I would say, is the darkest in the grayish color.
yeah.
And then discounting the January mallard, the Heyday is more of a
Or the gunning series is
yeah.
lightness wise. That's a
Yeah.
light gray.
Yeah,
The
and it's
Heyday's a light
closer
cream.
to a January. And that Heyday is more of that creamish, orangish tint, but, lighter for sure.
Yeah, and to Fred Zink's defense, looking at mallards on the water right now, I don't see a lot of speculum feathers.
Because it sits so low. Or
Like in a
They're just-
standard
it's just-
swimmer active
yeah.
position,
Their wings are
body,
tucked.
yeah, their wings are tucked and they're hiding that speculum. I mean, you can see that.
Gotcha. No, that's, yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like that could have been done on purpose. The speculum
Right.
colors might just be for consumers.
Well, and that's a good point you bring up is, a lot of things are done because it visually to a consumer, it looks good too.
Well, that yeah.
Right. I mean,
And talk about extreme mallards from Dakota.
like the Heyday's probably got the biggest speculum on it.
For sure. Next to the XDs.
And the FA's probably the FA and then the
Flambeau.
Flambeau have the least. And FA even is a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And then all the others are about the same. So you definitely get some variations. The tails, I know we talked about a little bit. You get some that are you really get that white bright pop
Yeah.
versus some others like the Higdon. You really get that big block of black
Yeah.
in the middle.
And then Avian X has a very cream colored tail with FA, and XDs have a very white tail. I like the white tail. It looks great from seeing it on the water. It really pops off the water.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler, do you have a favorite decoy out here on the table?
Favorite one? I don't know.
You like them all?
I like a lot of them. I don't, unless I had a permanent place, I don't see myself running a battleship.
Mm-hmm.
But some of their other decoys, their Magnum size is a great size to look at. If you're looking to buy, Higdon because of their durability for sure. But I want an EVA one piece. I've used Avian X. I have Dakotas. I have FAs. I have greenhead gear. I have them all.
Yeah, going back that's what I started with was Avian X because that was like the one piece EVA that got me going, and then I bought some XDs when they first came out, and now I've since bought some Final Approach new EVA with the flocked head.
Yeah, I like the FA size. I like they're bigger than they're a big mallard. I mean, I know there's some mallards out there as big as an FA floater, but they're a big mallard.
Wide-bodied
Yeah.
would be a good way to put it.
Yeah, where Dakota has that
They're tall.
taller.
Yeah, Dakota has a very unique carve, which I think is
Very
very
unique.
attractive to customers.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like in the water, they look
They're not as rounded.
they look they look active. Like the cool thing about Dakotas is their tail is probably one of the higher tails on these decoy carvings, and I don't know, they just pop off.
It's
the
like
water.
that mallard was doing a back workout.
Well, sometimes right after a duck lands, or maybe right before a duck leaves, they kind of like posture up, and then their tails kind of go up, their heads kind of go up, and then their wings go out and they lift. Or when they land, the same thing. Their tails are high, their heads kind of high, and then they kind of shrug into this nice relaxing position. And that's what the Dakotas look like, kind of like both sides of that look.
And they all have, you brought up the keels earlier, but they all have the multiple I think every single one had
At least front and back.
front and back options for rigging.
And a cord lock.
Yeah. And Avian X has like their 3-hole position where they have a front and the back, and then they also have the swim
And
hole.
theirs is above the keel.
Well, those look like cord locks on the bottom.
The one in the middle is a swim hole. So what that does,
Oh, that's a cord lock.
that's a swim.
Yeah. So what well, it can be used as both, but
I think you have it rigged here, and then you wrap it, and then you put it through there with your line, and that.
That increases the swimming motion when you put
gotcha.
your anchor point to the decoy. If it's not at the front, if it's a little bit farther towards the middle, that decoy will move more. And that's what
Gotcha.
that secondary location on the Avian X is.
Okay.
And some FA floaters have it in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That gives it that swimming motion, erratic. Now, if you have a lot of current or high winds, it might look unrealistic if your decoy is doing
Going sideways.
180s,
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe you want that crazy erratic action. But I mean, all these premium decoys have to have front and back because you don't want all your ducks facing the same way.
I learned that from you guys.
Yeah.
Mine all look like they're in a marching band.
Exactly.
And you're the conductor. You're standing there. All the ducks are looking right at you.
Yeah.
Which, going back to that, I think I like to rig about a minimum of 25% from the back, but probably 30% on average. Chandler, I think you said
Yeah.
you were closer to 40 or 50.
Yeah, 40 probably.
Yeah, we're making that switch this year. So
I'm probably 30%, 35.
So, we've talked a lot about decoys. What do you guys like to use to rig them? What's your length and weight and material that you prefer?
40 to 48 inch, 4 ounce
Yep.
Texas rigs.
Standard.
mm-hmm.
Coated cable, coated weight.
Yeah. 48 inch, 4 ounce coated cable now that it's, and you can get that. I mean, almost everybody has it now.
Yeah, coated
Yeah.
cable. I've got
Green
some
it-
mono still that, I've got them, so why not use them? But
The days of winding up my decoys
strap weights.
are long gone.
Yeah.
If you're a time guy or gal, there's
Or if
no
you-
comparison.
Or
in
if
how
you like
quick,
to move,
Yeah.
you set up in the wrong spot and you got
Yeah.
to move.
there's no comparison on how quick you can put out a dozen and pick up a dozen. Like if you raced a guy with a dozen
Yeah.
strapped up. And I like the storage of them too. So when I'm done,
You just hang them.
they're all on one. We got the hook in the shed, hang them up. They just nice, and you don't get the memory and the coated cable, and they last
Oh, yeah.
a long time. I do like FA you alluded to with the coated egg weight,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah. They're
Just
the
more
only ones
protection
doing
against
that.
the decoy.
Yeah. And then, but I mean, Greenhead Gear has coated cables. Rig'em Right has coated cable.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime, I think, was the first to the market with coated cables, or Heyday.
Yep.
They got,
I
I don't know who else.
think those are the four.
Yeah.
Yep. 48 inch, 4 ounce. If I hunt, but that's primarily too because we just keep 48 inch, 4 ounce because most of the places we go are either, bigger water, so we're right offshore and just that depth. I bet if you talk to people that have, a private marsh, most of them are, 3 ounce,
30 inch.
30 inch, 3 ounce, something. Because to them, one, you don't get as much wind. If you need to move them, I mean, they're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've always hunted at places that had the depth of your waders, and that's about 48 inch until you start taking on
And I
water.
think that's the most popular
Yeah.
Yeah.
by a long shot.
That's what I use.
48 inch, 4 ounce. And the only time I use, now I'll go to an 8 ounce from like my goose floaters just because they're bigger. But, and then sometimes we make our own in the red solo cups, and that's if we're leaving them out
Yeah.
at the lake.
Good old days, braided core, concrete
You can't
in the
leave
solo
them
cup.
anymore. You have to pick up each time.
Yeah.
But when we do the red solo cup with the U hook at the top,
Oh, I just use baling wire.
concrete, something to hold it in there, and then we would, tie on
Yeah, that's what I did for my gang rigs last
and
year.
just leave them. Except a storm came through one time,
Uh-oh.
and we went out there after, we hunted the one weekend. We come out the next weekend. There was nothing in front of the blind, even with those solo cups. So we just took the boat and started following the
the decoys.
the wind. And
Did you find them?
Yeah, most of them. And they're just like, they'd got to shore, tangled up in some log hanging out over the shore. But
That was a bad hunt.
you can, and I say you can't. This is for Smithville now, which is around here, a public spot. You have to pack up each day. Back when they used to do the draw, though, and you could leave your blind. And
I just love how Pat goes on a public platform and just starts blasting the names of places that he likes to hunt.
well,
Smithville's
Smithville's
not that great anymore, so it's
if you want to go there, by all means, try it out.
Oh, is it like Skeeter Pond?
It's just, the migration's changed. So, the migration here for us has moved west into Kansas.
You mean Oklahoma?
Well, that too. Wherever you're hunting is probably where they're at.
But Smithville, you can put in a lot of work and a lot of hours to
Yep.
maybe scrap out a duck.
Yep.
It's because you're hunting the edges. You
Now,
gotta
when
get
I
out in the
was-
open.
Well, we got that boat coming, so we have,
You're gonna kill them now.
tie up right in the middle because there's, especially up north, a lot of trees. Tie up right out there in the middle, do a lot more gang rigs. Be rocking and rolling.
That's what I'm gonna try this year.
Who's shooting out of that tree? That's Pat. I don't know.
That's Pat with his 10
there.
gauge.
It can't get any more packed there than it is now. So I'm not giving anything away. It's
Yeah.
but it's a close place that we can get to in 15 minutes as well. So I
And
don't
all of
know.
Kansas City already knows that. So
Yeah, it's a no. There was a point. And this is how many. I think one of the last few draws they did. No doubt there was probably 350 people there to draw 50 spots.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's a blast.
And that was back when like Mark and everybody.
Yeah, we were there.
And part of the
you
reason
bring your
they
whole squad and
they
everybody gets a
changed it
ticket.
because of Chandler.
What?
No, I'm kidding. Well, you would bring like 5 to 10 guys.
10 guys.
And you'd all put in for it, even though you really just wanted one spot. Well, then they realized years down the road, okay, you bring in 10 people to up your chances. And that's so you get to 350 people, for 50 some spots. And then they lowered it like, okay, one group, you only, one of you put in a name. And then
That's when you split from 10 to 5.
and then it got to the point, and they don't even do it anymore. So
Yeah.
you're not supposed to have a stationary blind. You have to go in and out each time, which is why a boat's nice.
can't leave decoys out.
Can't leave decoys out. That's why A-frames, that might be one of the reasons they're popular around here too. Some of these public places, A-frames are easy to take out, pop up on the shore. Most of it's brushed in already. So, yeah. But the glory days when I was a kid, it was awesome. Growing up, Dad take you out on a cold front.
Mm-hmm.
You just knew you were going to shoot ducks. And we did. Now you go out on a cold front, you just freeze.
Yeah,
You get cold.
Been there, done that.
You get
So,
cold.
yeah. Not to saying you can't get a limit, but it's just not like it used to be. It's few and far between.
Yeah.
What else do we want to talk about on these decoys?
I mean,
Covered keels and paint and size and
they're all
weight and
they're all online.
yeah.
yep.
But if you want to, test them before you buy them, come to the store and chit chat with me or Brandon, big time duck hunter, knows just about all of them.
At the store.
Get with him, and he's at the store.
Most all of these that we have on the table between the FA, the GHG, the Avian X, the Heyday, the Flambeau, and the Higdon, we've got them all in a painted and a flocked head. Maybe not the gunning series from Flambeau, but everything else we carry in a flocked head and painted head.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say this, no matter what you pick out of all of these, you're more than likely gonna be happy with them.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They're all gonna last pretty well. They're all gonna hold up pretty well, but they're all gonna be your decoy spread. You'll get ducks to decoy into them. It's all about finding, what decoy do you like staring at on the slow days?
Yep.
Yeah. And I'd say this too, just throw out some positive vibes. But we want more people in the outdoors, more people duck hunting.
At Smithville.
Spread the word.
Yeah.
Keep up the conservation efforts, and we love seeing new hunters talk to us, and especially when they come into the store. And you don't have to buy the most expensive. We just want you out there and enjoying it. And, I know we're talking about some premium ones here, but you just get what you can.
Yeah, get what you can afford. Come in, we'll help you out. Get what you can afford.
And
I will
don't be
pick
like
out-
me. When I got my first box
Yeah.
of decoys, I think I was in high school. I went to the store with my mom and she bought me a box of decoys. Well, little did I know that you actually needed to get rigs for your decoys.
Yeah.
So remember rigs.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we'll help you pick out, something that'll fit you and the style you hunt. And, right? That's why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be happy when you go out there, and I want you to enjoy the hunt. And it's more than just how many decoys you have and do they look cool, or are they the most expensive, right? It's the camaraderie and hanging out together and being out there. And some of the most fun hunts I've had is when I didn't shoot any, but I was with
Good people.
4 guys and our family, and we're just, chit-chatting and hanging out and laughing. And so that's what it's all about, really. But
Yeah.
Agreed.
not to get sentimental, but
We got time left to talk a little bit about pricing on these. Not like exact pricing, but like scale.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're like about 117.
Oh,
Don't
we
forget
can
to
talk
rate the
about
podcast.
decoys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, year 2022, I mean, these 12-pack of decoys can reach 300 a dozen.
Yeah.
And then with painted head versions, they could be at 150 for a premium decoy. That's a wide range. That's 150 is probably like on a sale or something.
Yeah,
like that.
150 a dozen all the way up to 300 a dozen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2022. Now, 23 could be different. Could be higher, could be lower. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
Well,
unfortunate.
all these decoys fit in that space, but back in the day,
Yes.
5 years ago, $100, $120 a dozen for a premium decoy.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been before EVA was big. But
Right.
I think you still could get top flights for like 120,
Yeah.
$60 a
Uh-huh.
6.
Yeah. And depending on sales and, what's fluctuating the market. But
Yeah, I remember
we're-
139 a couple years ago, and then
Yeah, before that was 120. And,
yeah.
I remember when we used to sell extreme mallards for 120, they would go like hotcakes.
Oh, my gosh.
But that could have been 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they're a little bit over 200.
Mm-hmm.
But they could go down potentially.
Yeah.
There's a possibility for next year for it to go down a little bit,
Yeah.
just depending on.
Sure.
yeah. But you don't need decoys that expensive to kill ducks.
Nope.
No,
So again, there's going to be sticker shock, I'm sure, when you go into a store and you're looking at them, but you don't need decoys that are $200 a dozen to kill ducks.
yeah,
Yep.
you don't need 6 dozen the first day you walk in to buy them either.
No. Nope. You can
That's
start
why it's
with,
good to have buddies
Yep.
Yeah,
if you need more.
Exactly. And that's another thing you can do. Each guy buy 2 dozen.
Yeah.
Each guy buy a dozen.
Yeah. I've seen, group of kids I've known for a while going through high school. They'll all save up and they'll come in waterfowl weekend, and each one of them buys a dozen, and
With rigs.
and then pretty
yeah.
soon they all got they got 6 dozen because they all hunt together as a group, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And if one of them's not going, and you just, hey, I'm gonna use the decoys today, and then so it works. Yep.
And if you're looking to buy decoys, here's my plug. Our emails are always got good deals on decoys, but you're always guaranteed a good deal on waterfowl weekend or Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Always guaranteed the best price that we're probably going to throw out that year. Now, you can catch them on emails throughout the year.
Yeah,
on
and
good,
if you
on
want
good deals.
Yeah,
but
how do you, for anybody that's not on that email list, how would they go about getting
Do it
on
on
that?
our homepage of our website.
homepage of the website's the fastest.
Is it still down at the bottom right? I think it says join email list.
Yep.
Yeah, or you get a pop up right when you get on there that says join our newsletter.
And
or
it's
something
worth
like that.
doing because there's there are, I mean, I've got customers and they'll wait different times and emails come out and we send out different ones and
Pat can't keep up. They walk in the store. Hey, where's these at? And you're like,
what's going on? Which email is it?
Yeah.
But you buy them on them deals and they're constant. So the best time, like Chandler said, waterfowl weekend,
like
Black
those are
Friday,
those are like
Cyber Monday,
like
guaranteed.
You're going to
But
find those hot deals. But
throughout
the
the season, there'll be
Yeah.
multiple chances to find specials on decoys.
And a lot of stuff coming now. We're doing Rogers kits together things sometimes, which is great deals, like rigs and bags and stuff. I mean, we used to do in our truckload flyer. We used to do like AV necks with rigs. And that was hot. You know, I don't know if we do. Some manufacturers don't let us do that anymore.
Yep, for sure.
Don't forget to rate the podcast
Correct.
Thanks, Josh.
Heck yeah.
and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow on Instagram and Facebook.
Amen to that.
I'm just ready.
And if you use the Rogers gear, make sure to tag them.
Ooh,
You may see yourself
yeah.
featured on their social media.
Yeah, Aaron's got that line down. So does Josh.
Yes.
I've heard it a few times.
A few times, correct. That is correct.
Well, I'm ready to buy some new duck decoys.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
I don't need to, but I'm ready to now just because we've talked about so many different mallard decoys over the past day.
I'll sell you this box right here.
All right.
I'll
See
sell
what
it
I
to
can
you for
scrounge
whatever
up.
they're selling it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Josh, you got some new fully flocks this year, didn't you?
I did.
Uh-oh.
They're going to be deadly. I'm excited
When
about
you
those.
breaking those out?
I don't know. That's the big question is like, when is it suitable for the fully flocks to come out?
Now, are those the ones you're going to baby a little bit?
Yeah, they're going to be in 12 slot bags. I'm
Okay.
gonna take care of them because I'll use them only just the 12. Like I'm not going to add anything else to the spread. So,
Gotcha. So just that and like water motion or spinning wing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
People-
not going to be a lot to deal with.
People do ask, well, how do you, if fully flock get dirty, and when the fully flock came out from Avery that they had brought in from using, do them like any others, and when you're cleaning your other decoys, but lay them all out and get your hose and you can just spray them off. Don't put it on jet power like a, you know,
Don't power wash.
don't
your
power
power
wash them and power wash it right off, but you can wash them right off
I think
if
a
they
little,
get
I think
dirty.
a little bit of Dawn soap is not invasive to all that.
Yeah.
You could put it on a little Gosling, so why can't you
Yeah.
put it
Throw
on
them
a
on the
decoy?
bed of your truck.
That's what I was
and
going to say.
Yeah,
throw them on
Throw them in the bed of
your
the truck and go to the car
Go
wash.
to the car wash.
Run it through.
exactly.
People do that. They'll throw them in the bed of their truck.
I don't
Get back
think it
there
works.
with the hose
No,
and
I was,
just spray
I
'em
was
up, spray 'em
talking about like
down.
an automatic car
yeah,
wash.
just go through an automatic.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
It doesn't really work that good. I tried it.
No, but I've seen people spray them down with the hose.
There's sometimes
do it yourself car
where
wash.
I would contemplate doing that with a pair of waders in the bed of my truck.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
You ever had one of those days where you come back and you're like, I am disgusting.
yeah,
I am
Yes.
nothing but mud.
clean
Yes.
them up
Yeah.
for sure.
No, the Foley Flocks will be good. I'm excited about those.
Yeah. Break them out on a cloudy day.
Little November hunt. Just get back in that tiny little hole.
Did you get a
throw out-
dozen?
Yeah, I got a dozen.
Nice.
Throw out like 8 Foley Flocks and a
Couple
spinner.
flocked heads. Oh no, just 8 fully flocks.
8 Foley Flocks and a spinner.
Not a dozen.
Not a dozen.
Okay.
Just do 8.
Dozens too many. We got to keep 4 extra in case
Yeah.
he shoots one.
Yeah, I did shoot a teal decoy over the weekend.
Whoops.
Nice.
I was picking them up. I hear a rattle and I'm like, oh well.
Well,
That happens.
Yep.
Took a buddy out for his first duck hunt. A duck came in perfect. We were waiting on his mallard. And like, all right, you're shooting. No one else is shooting. You're shooting first. This duck comes in just before he knew what to do, just lands right in the decoys, and he smoked a Dakota. Like, it not only put BBs inside of it, it chipped off parts of the decoy. Like, there's chunks missing of it, and it was the funniest thing in the world. We wanted to, like, put it in a shadow box and, like, give it to him as a trophy.
there you go.
Yeah.
But he didn't hit the duck, though. He shot the wrong thing.
Whoops. I didn't do close inspection on this, but I did notice as I was picking up my spinning wings, there was a few holes in the wings that weren't there before the hunt.
Yep.
I didn't check the bodies, but they were still spinning.
Now, does that happen more with teal hunting because they're just
I think
dive bombing you? And
I
you're
haven't
like,
had an issue with really
so
shooting
quick.
decoys with big ducks, but with the blue wings, they are going from flying to sitting like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Josh is also, like, on water level shooting.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah.
Sometimes
You're right there.
when I'm on the marsh, we're kind of on that water level, but other times we're on a bank or somewhere. You know,
Cut bank,
you're
yeah.
kind of elevated from your decoys, so you're getting a little bit.
I love shooting down on ducks.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
But yeah, no, when I was setting up for teal, I mean, my decoys were from me to Chandler.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Like I'm sitting in my spread. It's awesome.
That's good stuff.
And I noticed like with the teal, a lot of people like to pass shoot them. I don't do that. I like to finish teal. It is so much fun. I had this one bird. It was the last bird for the limit. I pull up, and it's like from me to you, Pat.
Mm.
And it's going Mach 7 straight at me. I take 2 shots at it, miss. And him and his buddy come do a big circle around and just plop right into the spread after being shot at.
If you want to see this content, visit Outdoor Limits on YouTube.
And subscribe. And like. Click the thumbs up. And follow.
Oh, jeez.
Don't forget to rate the podcast. We want to get this trending on the outdoor tab.
Yes. Correct.
Let's make the Rogers podcast #1. Share it with your friends.
Everybody loves mallards, so it could happen. We all love mallard decoys,
That is correct.
and we get to put our hands on them anytime we want and test them out, look at them.
The only problem is I need a bigger shed so I could have more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Same. Might sell my boat so I have more room for decoys.
Yeah, you wouldn't sell a boat. You just buy another boat.
I'll buy a boat to cover the boat.
Yes.
Keep my decoys inside the boat.
Yep.
And one last thing, if you've never been to the store, Patrick is there quite often, and it is like Sam's Club for decoys.
It really is.
If you haven't seen, if no one's told you or you've seen pictures of it, it's pallet racking, floor to ceiling,
I think the store
high ceiling.
the store needs to get like those Costco carts.
We do have some.
Do you?
Oh, the big grocery
Like
carts.
like the big ones you go to Costco and you can fit
we
like,
usually pull out the
flatbed carts.
The flatbed orange carts.
oh, you got the
If
Home
you
Depot.
want,
Yes.
you can come there, and if you wanted 100 dozen decoys, you could take 100 dozen decoys home.
Yeah.
Pull up to the dock, paddle load you up.
Pat does it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Buy
When it's
buy
that
'em by the pallet.
when it's that big, we load you out back.
Yeah. I've walked into the
But-
store and Pat's got a pen in his ear and a piece of paper and he's working with the guy and they're like filling up trailers and he's just like, yep, got it all. Here we go.
Yep.
You know,
Palletize it, throw it on the trailer, and we're rocking and rolling. I just had a guy buy 35 boxes of snows just the other day. So you can get quite a bit.
I've seen some duck clubs come in and get some mallards.
Oh man, when them duck clubs come in and they're all their money's pooled together and
Do they clean you out?
no, you can't clean us out. No one has ever cleaned out Rider Sporting Goods decoys.
Can we come
So
close at
I'm gonna
Waterfowl Weekend?
I'm gonna put that challenge out there.
Somebody come and
I
buy all
want
the
someone
decoys.
to come clean me out of decoys.
So last waterfowl weekend in 2022, August 2022, we had an awesome ad with inventory, which is great. We've been struggling with that for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one decoy that we sold out of at the store, but we had at the warehouse that we didn't have enough time to bring back to the store.
Yep.
And it was a 6-pack of goose floaters.
Yep.
There's only one decoy out of the 70 to 100 options we had offered.
Yep.
So you're telling me that if I was just passing through on my trip down to wherever I'm going and wanted to stop in at Rogers Sporting Goods and buy 3 dozen mallard decoys, you'd have what I wanted?
3 dozen easy.
Oh, yeah. Of if any variety.
I would
I'm just speaking from the average.
Sure.
If you
point of
wanted
view.
20 dozen of...
You're not going to come in and be disappointed because you're going to say, oh, it's out of stock.
The only caveat is obviously we have our warehouse where we store everything and then we transfer it to the store weekly. If the guy came in right before you and bought the last 6 boxes or something. So I say that 99% of the time, I'm going to have exactly what you need in a decoy.
Yeah, you could roll up, and if you wanted XD 12 packs Pro Grade XD GHG. He might have 20 dozen sitting in there.
Yeah.
Right now.
And if it gets to the point where you're wanting a decent amount and I'm short, I might just send you over here.
Yeah.
We have that capability. Quick 15-minute drive, come to the warehouse, we'll get you loaded up.
Then you can't run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started getting into waterfowl, I had a hard time finding, like, I was doing some goose hunting, or at least attempting to. I could not find the decoys I needed in stock. And now that I know about Rogers, at the time I didn't. That would have helped.
That's why our website's so powerful. I mean, we're working on it all the time, but people who don't live in the Kansas City area don't know what it's like to go buy whatever decoy they want.
No, they don't.
Because
No,
I
they
mean,
sure don't.
you know, I walked into another retailer that's down the street from us, and I might have found 6 mallards as an option. That was it. It wasn't a dozen. There was one box of 6.
Yep.
You know,
That's the experience that I always knew of when I
yeah.
first started. It's like nobody had it.
Would you go to like Walmart and buy the one box they had, and then wait next week and try to buy the second box?
No,
know?
I didn't do that, but I did go in after the season and clean them out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've got it. And it's not just decoys. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, but if you want decoys.
Decoys and shot shells, baby.
Yep.
If you haven't listened to the ammo podcast, that was probably the one before this, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
We're just getting ready for big duck.
Oh, yeah.
Shot shells and decoys.
Yep.
And blinds.
Yes.
Lots of blinds.
We'll have to do a blind podcast.
Mhm.
Oh, well, yeah, we can get into that
Yeah.
Yep.
Stand up versus layout.
versus different types of layouts.
Mm-hmm.
Different types of stand-ups.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them.
Stay tuned. Make sure to rate the podcast. Let us know we're doing a good job.
Yes. Correct. Okay. What else?
I think that's a wrap.
Yep.
I got a tinkle.
Let's call it good.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, go ahead and give us a subscribe. That way you're going to get a notification every time we put out a new podcast. Chandler, what else should they do?
Go to our social media pages and give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Get us subscribed to YouTube channel. We do product reviews there. And then giveaways is a great part of our social media as well.
And then we just want to thank you guys for what you guys do and support us so we can do stuff like this. So thank you.